M1150 Assault Breacher Vehicle. The M1150 assault breaching vehicle looks like a bulldozer that's going through a really bad identity crisis while holding out in its neighbor's pool shed after taking a bunch of psychedelics and shopping for its wardrobe from the local Army surplus store. This 72 to 40 foot long behemoth of a tracked combat vehicle is designed not only to clear paths for the armies that it serves, but also to go and gobble up any mines that's in its path and make sure that the feet don't get blown off of any unsuspecting troop who may be walking along thinking about his mother's meatloaf while also trying not to lose his life in a war that he probably didn't ever think he was signing up for in the first place. In addition to all of that swallowing power, it also features a big honking 50 caliber machine gun so that it can also mow down whatever terrain sits in front of it just in case it feels too lazy to bulldoze it over. In addition to all of that, it also comes equipped with about 7,000 pounds of explosives, so you know if something goes wrong with the mines or other roadside bombs that it's trying to eliminate, well, it may just find itself putting up one very large mushroom-shaped cloud with everyone around it kissing their asses goodbye. To make up that big old boom, the tank carries linear demolition charges and rockets that carry C4 explosives, all while gliding along on a chassis of the classic Abrams tank. Now, this was originally a project that was conceived by the United States Army, but as it turns out, the Army decided that they could not fund the project anymore and then decided to scrap it. So that's when the Marines stepped in and made the decision that they wanted to claim this big old chunky tank for themselves and took it over with the help of an engineering firm in the UK to produce these rolling minesweepers for their own purposes. To date, it's said that 239 of these bomb-exploding beasts have been produced, and they've been employed in the war in Afghanistan. Number 16. DARPA Captive Air Amphibious Transporter. Next up, we have a machine that has never actually seen the light of day, as it's still a prototype that's in development. However, if it ever does make it to the battlefield, it's going to be a formidable opponent for whoever dares to stand up against it. The Captive Air Amphibious Transporter, also known as the CAT, is a tracked amphibious vehicle being developed by those equipment wizards at DARPA and would have been something that the boys that stormed the beaches at Normandy on D-Day would have loved to have had. This tracked amphibious vehicle is basically a tank that can swim, and that means that it can be deployed offshore and then make its way onto the beach of any enemy essentially coming in through the back door and ruining any blanket party and barbecue that may be taking place. At least it could if it was actually a deadly instrument of war and armed with any kind of cannons or weaponry. In fact, it's said that the primary goal of this machine is to actually transport containers from ship to shore without the need of a harbor, and also to resupply aircraft carriers and other large ships without them having to take all the tedious time to come into port. The CAT runs across the water at a blistering 20 knots on top of a bunch of inflated pontoons, and when it makes land, the pontoons deflate, and that's when the tracked wheels take over. The company that's developing the vehicle, presumably for the United States Marines, also says that it's currently investigating the usefulness of the CAT in order to aid it in things like disaster relief and other